Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD, and I'm here for Game 2 between Liquid.Zenio and Slayers.MMA from the Korean Regional at IPL5. Liquid.Zenio has so far taken the first game of this set with a successful counterattack, and it was a bling-bailing bust to counter the cheese from MMA. He felt like he was ahead enough, and he felt like MMA was going to go for a not a macro CC, but a natural expansion to try to catch up economically, and he predicted it correctly. If a Terran player loses that many SCVs in the beginning of the game, and he has to rebuild a command center to catch back up, man, a Ling-Bailing bust is going to be absolutely prime. And Zenio takes the first game of the set. It is a best of 3. He is the underdog here. He's always been kind of a borderline Code-S player, and he is the dark green Zerg at the bottom right of Ohana. All the details and facts here. It is Random Facts 101 today. And over at the top left, we have the contender, the champion, if you will, the player MMA. He's the red Terran at the top left-hand corner of Ohana, and going for a weird play. I don't know what prompted him to decide, I'm just going to shove everything to the face of Zenio, and hopefully it wins. And I don't know. We'll see what happens in the second game of the set. He is going to go with the barracks at the command center, not opting to wall off immediately, but it is a preference thing. Some Terrans will place it here and then lift it off and finish off the wall later on. Drone comes out. Drone comes out of the barracks, harassing the barracks to try to maneuver around and see if there's a gas coming at all, and there is no gas, so all signs pointing here for MMA going for the 1-Rax gasless fast expansion, which is the most common, most practical build for Terran players to really utilize, especially on this map. I don't really think CC first works too well because you do have to worry about the rocks on the side, and any Zerg that does go for what Zenio did, the Ling-Bailing bus, it becomes exponentially more difficult, to hold on to that location when you don't have that many Marines to work with. So the barracks first gives you that extra sense of security, and Terran players can also bring in a little bunker harass off of one barracks as well. It's not as effective as the 2 barracks play, but it's still something to be concerned about if you're Zerg. And here comes the CC going right down to the low ground. It looks like the barracks is not going to make its way all the way over to the ramp, nor is it going to make its way over to the secondary ramp. It's just going to slightly reposition itself as 2 gases are coming up here for MMA. That is a pretty fast gas here. It really depends on what the Terran wants to do. You'll see Terrans after the command center go for more barracks to help hold off any aggression and play a little bit more of a Marine-based style, or you'll see some Terrans get the 2 gases right away after the command center, and usually when they do that, it means they're going to try to rush their tech right away, and we might see a quick Banshee here from MMA. In fact, that's what I think he's going to do. He might opt to go for something different, like utilizing his gas for upgrades right away for his Marines. We'll see what happens, but I think it might be a quicker Banshee here from MMA. And we'll see what happens. It could be the fast Hellion build as well. And, the thing about ZVT these days is, and I think you guys watched the match with my cousin and Pain User. If you haven't, go check it out. You kind of discover there that Queens are so damn good now. A lot of Zergs are just getting 6 Queens, 2 Queens for your bases, and then 4 Queens around their map to spread creep tumors and block Hellions. So getting back to what I was saying before, Hellions are really finding themselves in a hard spot now. They really don't have the ability to get beyond Queens, especially with that 5 range now. So that is something that Terrans will have to look out for. And right now it does look like we have a reactor core coming up on that barracks, so we probably will see some Hellions, but what I'm really keen to see here is the potential starport from MMA. And if the starport does come out, does Zenio have enough defenses? Well, you know what, man? He's making Queens, and he's got 4 Queens already. So that's the other thing, too, is Banshees also find themselves in a very hard spot, kind of in the same spot, actually, as the Hellions. It's very hard to get in there and do damage. But, hey, double starport coming here from MMA, and that's what I was thinking, It's good, if not 2 starports, at least 1, but it looks like it is going to be 2, and that's where you make use of that very fast gas from what MMA's been harvesting. And I'm glad too. A lot of Terrans, they'll mine that gas and then early on, and then they just don't use it for the first few minutes of the game. But MMA is very efficient here. He is gonna have that starport branded BlizzCon 2011 landing on the Tech Lab. The funny thing is, I actually saw him at BlizzCon 2011. I believe he was there for 2011, and let's see what happens here. It looks like he's going to get that double starport down, and the Banshees are going to start to make their way out on the field. Now, the thing here is he's got a 3rd gas as well, which leads me to believe that he might try to go for the cloak upgrade, but I think you need 3 gases minimum just to double pump 2 starports worth of Banshees. So I don't know, he might try to squeeze in the cloak upgrade, but for now, one thing he's going to have to be concerned about is Zenio's queens. Like I said, the metagame these days is all about queens, and Zenio currently with 4 queens on the field. Also got a Baneling Nest and a Roach Warren coming here, so Zenio might opt to go for Baneling Roach, which obviously can't do anything to Banshees, but they can force the Banshees to stay at home for defensive purposes, and that in itself it's like a form of defense. The best defense, some would say, is a good offense. And here we go, the first couple Banshees making their way out on the field. Doesn't look like he's going to try to squeeze out that cloak upgrade. 2 Banshees now, 2 at a time, flying out, and this is a lot of potential damage here. SCV also blocking the hatchery. I love this play because the longer you delay that hatchery from going up, the more likely it is that the Banshees will be able to snipe the hatchery or force the cancel, because, you know, if you think about it, the longer that it's morphing for, the more HP that it has. And now the Banshees are going to come in and they're going to find a hatchery that's pretty easy here to pick off and maybe force the cancel. Here we go. This is going to be the first blood of this game. No, MMA is going to opt to go around here. Doesn't want to reveal the Banshee. And right now, the Banshees remain hidden. They're going to go completely undetected over to the natural here, where there's only 1 queen. And the Banshee's going to start to do its damage. Queen going to take a little bit of damage here. Actually, a lot of damage. Going to go down immediately. Queens could not come back to transfuse in time. And that's great. Anytime you can pick off a lone queen, it makes it that much more difficult for Zerg to handle the Banshees, especially if you've got 2. Because when there's 2 Banshees, you need at least 3 to stop it, and now there's the bare minimum of 3 queens on the field. So Zenio picks off 1 queen. He's going to go for the hatchery on the left-hand side here, taking a lot of damage. Queens are off creep here, and so they do not have the mobility they need to deal with 4 Banshees, and 4 Banshees are going to be enough to take out 1 more queen, and now it becomes this kind of cascading snowball effect. You don't have enough anti-air as Zerg, and Zenio's in a lot of trouble here. He has no way to deal with 4 Banshees, and his queens come out basically only 2 at a time, although 1 of his Banshees are going to go down, or 1 of MMA's Banshees are going to go down, and MMA cannot afford to lose any of those. It looks like a Spore Crawler's there as well. Good defense statically from Zenio, and you know what, if he can just move that Spore Crawler to the north a little bit, bring his queens down. Oh, he picks off another Banshee. Big plays right there, and that keeps the hatchery, it allows it to have a longer lifespan essentially. So that's all Zenio wants to do right now, keep the hatch alive, doesn't want to let it go down, but he also wants to mitigate his drone losses. Here he's going to lose maybe another queen. 15 workers have gone down already from MMA's double starport play, and the first game we had the all-in with SCVs. The second game we've got double starport Banshee, and this one MMA might just pull off, man. He has done so much damage already. Oh my god, Zenio loses, maybe that's like the 5th queen or so now. I mean, the units lost have at 2,000 resources lost, only 600 for the Terran, and more drones continue to fall down. The Banshees just finding themselves parked in between the main and the natural, and at this point, yeah, there we go. I would have thought Zenio would say, hey, you know what, screw it, I've got Zerglings, I've got the ability to make roaches, I've got a Baneling Nest, I've got to try to pull these Banshees back home by being aggressive, and this is really the right play here. The Zerglings are otherwise utterly useless, and right now he's just kind of dancing at the front. I don't know why he's not sending them in or making them into Banelings. Maybe he's just using this as a diversion to try to pull the Banshees back, but he's not going to commit. And I think it's so far been somewhat successful. It's allowing him to buy more time to get defenses back at home. And yeah, he's just kind of playing the cat and mouse right now to try to buy time, but the all-in continues from MMA here. Excuse me, not the all-in, just the attack here continues from MMA. And this one is going to probably look to end the game unless Zenio can get enough forces out on the field. He needs Mutalisks right now, and he's only got 3 out. Will he have enough to deal with this? It looks like he cleans up the ground army. And now it's 2 Mutas versus about 5 Banshees, but the 5 Banshees are going to get the hatchery kill, and now they can fall back, man. Even if these Banshees go down, I mean, it's a loss to MMA, but damn, have they served their purpose. 13 kills on that Banshee. This one had 9, and this one just 1. Probably sad that her sister's KS'd her, but hey, it's okay, man. This is a cooperative team effort. And MMA so far has been showing how it's done as Terran, man. He's got all these Marines on the field now. As soon as he hits that combat shields and 2-2, man, he is going to have such a significant tech advantage. Look at the Zerglings. They're only at 1-1. I guess they're about to finish 2-2, so Zenio will actually keep the upgrade advantage, and kudos to him for maintaining the upgrade advantage all throughout this game despite the constant attacks. But he does not have the eco on his side at all. He just lost the hatchery over at the third, and he needs to get that up. Otherwise, he's going to be in a very hard spot this game. MMA 145 supply to 118 here. Going to engage against his army, and I think Zenio might actually have enough to deal with this. As Banelays, are they going to connect on the Marines? No, they will not. And MMA with very good Marine Micro at the last second, just pulling them out of harm's way, and you know, being very efficient. Also dropping over on the left-hand side here to once again disturb the third hatchery as it's about to morph out. Oh man, MMA, will he be able to take this hatchery down? Zenio not having enough Zerglings here to defend. In fact, he's being attacked at the front door as well, and Zenio might just be stretched too thin here. He was just on 2 bases for too long, and he's run out of money to play with, and MMA is going to come in here, knows he's got more in the bank, knows he's got more army on the field, and he will take it home here in game 2 to tie up the set. I don't know how in the world Zenio can defend this, and I don't think he can. I think that's going to have to be GG here. Another hatchery goes down. And even if he holds off this army, it's just impossible, man. I don't. All right, well, he holds off and he kills off all the Marines, but I don't think it's possible here for Zenio, because MMA is on 3 bases now. The Zerg is on 2, if you can call it 2. It's like a barely bleeding, hemorrhaging second base. He needs to get the 3rd up. Not only does he need to get the 3rd, but Zenio needs to get a 4th up, and he knows it. He's going to call the GG. It's just too far of a stretch, even by any imaginative standards, that Zenio can win this game. And MMA takes a decisive victory in game 2 with, you know, it's a pretty cheesy play going for double starport. In fact, it is cheesy. It wasn't, you know, proxy starport, but still, to go for double starport in base is extremely unconventional, and it paid off pretty well for MMA. You know, if Zenio had just made more queens, I was mentioning before Zerg's making 6 queens, 4 to 6 queens is the average. You know, if he had 6 queens originally, he probably would have been able to hold that off. But you know, we'll see what happens. It is going to be game 3 coming up here from the Korean regionals at IPL5. Hope you guys have enjoyed. It is tied up, Zenio versus MMA, game 3. See you guys there.